Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out today. We're here for the Free Marvin Haynes press conference. There's been information released to prove that Marvin was innocent. Star and Tribune did a good, big article. Unicorn Riot has published about this, and many other organizations have been talking about the unjust incarceration of Marvin Haynes. We have his sister, Cynthia Haynes. She's going to come up and tell us a little bit about Marvin Haynes. Give her a big round of applause.
Hello. So Marvin was 16 when he was falsely convicted of a crime. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, hi. My name is Cynthia Haynes. I'm Marvin's little sister. Since Marvin been convicted for like 18 years, we don't really know too much about his actual person because of that, right? Because he was taken away. But when he was at home, he was 16. Marvin did things for me that my dad was unable to do. And when they took Marvin away from us, that took a person that was my protector. We are asking for his immediate release because he is falsely convicted. We have evidence that prove it. We know the system. We understand what you guys are doing to our family, and we ask for justice. Thank you.
And when we're talking about the criminal injustice system, we're also talking about reparations. So we want the state of Minnesota to pay reparations to the American descendants of chattel slavery for how its criminal injustice system has treated black people in the state of Minnesota. Ever since the forced arrival of enslaved Africans in the Americas, policing and penal policies and practices were enacted to discipline, control, and immaculate black people to systems of exploitation. The criminal injustice system, which evolved, was a direct extension and protector of the interests of the corporate and political elites in the U.S., from runaway slave patrols, vacancy laws, chain gangs, convict lease system, to relentless police violence, killings, and mass incarcerations. Racist policies and practices have decimated black communities, severely constrained civil rights, human rights, and the socio-economic political aspirations of black people. The war on drugs, with its attendant racially biased policies and practices, is the most recent manifestation of this long-standing war on black people. During this time, in the middle 90s, black men from the ages 18, 50% of black men from the ages of 18 to 35 were locked up inside of jails. That exacerbated and caused a huge disparity just within that. So we remember when black people were being called super predators. We remember the 1994 crime bill that just really exacerbated the disparities as far as the criminal justice system goes. And Marvin Haynes is an example of that unjust treatment. We have his sister, Marvina Haynes, and she's going to come up and tell us about Marvin's case and why he should be freed immediately. Give her a big round of applause.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marvina Haynes. I'm the sister of Marvin Haynes, who has been wrongfully incarcerated for the last 18 years. I am also the founder of Minnesota Wrongfully Convicted Judicial Reform. Today, we have my other sister, Cynthia, and our community that's standing behind us, who's all demanding the release of Marvin Haynes immediately. Marvin's loss to our family has greatly affected us. Our children has lost the opportunity to be raised with a strong black role model. Marvin has lost the opportunity to be a community member. How many of our family members are innocent or overly sentenced men sit behind those walls, missing out on the opportunity due to the injustice system? Our community suffers because of this. Our children are suffering. These families are suffering. My family has suffered. Ask yourself, why are these things happening? When Minneapolis woke Marvin up at the age of 16 in our mother house in 2004, they gave him life for a crime evidence shows he didn't commit?
No.
How many more juveniles of our community right here in Minneapolis have this happened to? They are literally erasing generations of minority people histories by the hands of the judicial system.
Yes.
I asked you guys, how can we as a community continue to let these things happen? Some of the facts in Marvin Haynes' case are as follows. The supporting facts is Marvin Haynes is innocent. And it's overwhelmingly strong evidence that he is innocent. Marvin Haynes' appearance did not fit the description of the predator in really obvious ways. The most noticeable way was the predator had short cropped hair and Marvin had a 4 to 5 inch afro. The key witness in this case, who was Cynthia McDermott, first picked someone else out of the lineup, and she was 75 to 80% sure that he was the suspect. The person that she picked was only a filler in the lineup. That should have been the end of her process, the process for her. The office repeatedly sorry guys.
Take it down.
You got us behind your back.
Okay. The office deliberately did things that they knew was unconstitutional. And part of Michael Keith's statement states that he questioned the authorities higher than him on what they were doing, and that he would never had did that without the higher powers giving him the permission to do it. They also used a picture of Marvin Haynes from 2002 to try to make him fit inside of the description that the witness had gave. But remember, this crime happened in 2004, and Marvin had a 4 to 5 inch afro. They exposed the witnesses to Marvin multiple times, so many times to where they knew that they will recognize Marvin. Sergeant Keith has coincided that this practice was improper and that it was the result of pressure from the prosecutor attorney Fernstyle and his higher ups, which was Amy Cromershaw. The later lineups were not blind. They included multi-suspects in a single lineup. They included filters who were obviously not the suspect and therefore could be easily excluded. One of the main eyewitness, Ravi Silly, has largely recanted his prior testimony and is now stating that he never got a good look at the predator's face and was never confident in this identification, but felt pressure by Minneapolis Police Department and Hennepin County to make an identification that would stick. The law enforcement officers cut corners through this case in order to secure a conviction. As noted above, they violated all kinds of best practices as to the eyewitness identification. They bullied teenagers, witnesses, into making statements, threatened them with prison time of their own if they didn't say that Marvin Haynes was the suspect. The prosecutor in this case was Mike Fernstall. He's the same prosecutor in Mayan Burrell case. Marvin and Mayan Burrell has the same prosecutor attorney. the same judge, the same investigator. Mike Fernstall has a track record of questionable convictions involving young black defendants, most notable Mayan Burrell's case. Mary Minority campaigned in our community as elected on a platform of changing how things are done in Hennepin County's attorney's office, as she promised to pursue justice and not seek and defend convictions at all costs. So we are calling on Mary Minority to review Marvin's case immediately and demand his release immediately. This is an opportunity for Mary. This is an opportunity for Mary Minority to make good of her promises that she made to our community. Thank you guys so much. Again, my name is Marvin Haynes.
Yeah, Marvina.
Again, we believe Marvin Haynes should be released immediately. The Innocent Project is working on this. Okay. And we also have Mike Toussaint. He's the father of Mayan Burrell. He's here. He's going to come up and say a few words. Please give him and Marvina a big round of applause.
How y'all doing? My name is Mike Toussaint. I'm actually the father of Mayan Burrell.
Speak up, sir.
How are y'all doing? My name is Michael Toussaint. I'm the father of Mayan Burrell. I actually was walking by and I know about the case too, but I keep hearing the same names, which is Amy Kovacho and Mike Bernstead during the trials. But it's not just that. You have to think, my son was sentenced to 18 years in prison for something he didn't do. Actually stayed there 18 years. Now witness it being one of your children or somebody out there that you love. And it's continuing. It happens so much in the neighborhoods. It's not just the police. Let's not let Mike Freeman get away either. Right. You know, he's been stamping his name on things too. And actually, Amy Kovacho, wow, what can I say about her? I think they told my son not to speak up on the case, but they didn't tell me.
Listen,
That's
You
right.
see what I'm saying? So me, myself, I feel like this right here. They've never even apologized for my son doing 18 years. They flipped this case over to where they said that they couldn't be fact finders. But I've never, in the state of Minnesota, seen them let nobody go that wasn't innocent.
That's right.
You know, and it's done happened to so many people. It's not him. He just opened the floodgates of all the other people that's been convicted through police pressure, the justice system, the railroad, the track that run through here every day, you know, and me as a black man actually experiencing it. I was incarcerated. But when you're there for something you didn't do, imagine you going to bed every night. See, it's different when it happens in your home, then it becomes a factor, but in our homes, it's nothing. You know, and we do get tired of it. We get tired of seeing young black men in the streets doing the things they do too. Let me not act like I don't understand it. But at the end of the day, when you're innocent, no one should be locked up. No one. And for this man to be gone for 18 years, and I'm hearing the same names, well, that should be telling you in right out open. It's not just them that this done happened to. It done happen to a lot of people. Look in the records, and the lady that just came in, I try not to watch the news because it's so sad. It's saddening. It's just saddening. But if all you want is a conviction and it don't matter about the lives that's been taken, imagine this young man been took from his siblings, his parents. It's horrifying. It really is. I know I experienced what they're going through. I wasn't even going to get up here and talk, but then I thought it was people like them that helped me.
listen.
You know, it was people that stood on the front line for my child, you know, so why wouldn't I not speak up for somebody else's child, you know? And it's got to be more speaking up, and it got to be more putting out. You got to throw them people out that's been in office that's corrupted.
Yeah.
You know, why is it that we commit crimes and we go to jail, but they commit crimes and you pat them on the back. You know, and it happens. You know, the news don't want to report it, but it's real. I know. I've witnessed it. The police come in your neighborhoods. Wow. I just hope that y'all understand, do the right thing. You know, if you know this man is innocent and it's on paper, why shouldn't he be free? I watched them put the parents on there, the people at the flower, and talk about how they lost a parent. I'm not negating that. Someone got killed in that flower store. But if you had a wrong person, he shouldn't be there. Simple as that. And instead of you putting a body in the place, here y'all like convicting all these people, but it's people that's been killed that you ain't even found the people. Little babies. Let's keep it real. Babies getting killed. But as long as you can throw somebody in jail and make it look good to the media, to the world, it's okay. No, it's not okay. We tired of this stuff. We tired of it. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
And again, you know, we want to get rid of these for-profit prisons that make money off throwing innocent people in jail. Our next speaker, we have DJ. He's a powerful activist here in the Twin Cities. Give him a big round of applause.
My name's DJ. I'm a community member, and this just has to stop happening. I mean, on Freeman's way out the door, he admitted that the judicial system has been racist and that it has done a lot of messed up things in the past. And that's cool to try to admit that and try to say that but like nothing has been corrected. No one has gone back. No one has let these people out that have been wrongly convicted. Like, we need to start looking at all the cases that Amy was attached to, and we need to start freeing these people because they're showing that there is a pattern of them not having enough evidence to actually convict these people. See, the cops out in the street kill us, black folks and indigenous folks, because they don't see us as human. These judges keep throwing the book and locking us up forever because they also don't see us as human. So we need this problem to change. And if y'all know there's a problem, why is it not changing? That's what my question is. Because if I see all these elected officials that are saying that there is a problem and I'm seeing no systemic change, then what is going on? Because now it's starting to feel intentional. It's not starting to feel like the problem. It's starting to feel like this is what y'all are doing on purpose. And we know that's what's going on. And so we need to make sure that we go back and free these people in our communities, because it's a large portion of our communities that are being wrongly convicted. They just grab another black body that looks like whatever they deem a super predator and they just throw them in prison. This has to stop. Yes. Mary has been in office for what, two and a half months now? Mary, come on, let's go on. Let's do your job. You came to the community. You told folks that you were going to start looking at the cop cases of people who were murdered. You said you were going to get people out of prison. We need to start going now. These people can't afford to sit around. We don't know what's going to happen if people just sit around in prison. I mean, Leonardo Peltier, he's currently in prison right now, who's one of the longest held indigenous political prisoners. He's on his deathbed, and Joe Biden still won't give him clemency. So we need to get these people out because they still have families to go to. They still have lives to live. We can't just sit here and just let these people rot in prison. And for everybody that has been wrongfully convicted and is in this terrible prison system, I just want to tell them that we still love you. We still care for you. And we're coming to get you out of there.
That's right.
All power to the people!
All power to the people!
My brother turned the lights on. That's what that speech right there. As my friend just said, when you put the wrong person in prison, especially for a murder, that means that there's a killer still on the loose. There's a killer that's still out on the streets that's able to kill again when you put the wrong person in prison. So that's why it's very, very, very important that you don't wrongfully convict people, because then you leave killers out on the streets. Is there any questions for the family of Marvina Haynes or anyone else who had just spoken?
Can you talk about the next steps the family is taking?
So the next steps is kind of like the procedure what Hennepin County put in place. We have filed with the CRU board. We did that in December. And so we're just demanding that they speed up the process because we hand delivered them the package. Is there any more questions?
Has the current Hennepin County attorney reached out to you to talk about your case or show any kind of solidarity with your case?
No, but I know that she's aware of it. She did, as DJ was speaking, came around into our community and campaigned on all of the things and how she was going to reinvestigate cases and just to make sure that everything was in line. But she hasn't reached out to me to answer your question, no.
I know it was a little hard as a family, even growing up, like not knowing Marvin now that he's been gone for 18 years. But can you just talk about who he is, right?
Okay.
Maybe as a child, and then now what he's been doing in prison these past 18 years?
Okay, so I spent a lot of time on the phone with Marvin. Oh my God, he's my headache. He wants everything to be perfect. But a lot of the barriers come because he was 16 years old when he got taken from my family. And so I can kind of like, it's kind of hard for him to process because he's not aware of like the new technology and what's actually going on. He can only read what the books say in there. And I'm like, Marvin, this is how we're doing it out here. And so he just hoping that
He's complicated. That's what she's trying to say. Like, he's complicated. So, yeah, that's what
it's a complicated situation for us, you know. Our family came here from St. Louis for a better life. When we got here, my mom did a lot of like community work. My dad did more of like painting, where he started his own business. Yes. Our family has started to finally see a better upbringing, and then Minneapolis police knocked on my parents' door, and they first took Marvin on a curfew ticket. So I want you guys to understand that. They took Marvin on a curfew ticket, but all along they knew that they wanted to question him about a murder that evidence shows that he didn't commit. And the curfew ticket that they took him on, it wasn't put out. They called in to have that curfew ticket, to have grounds to pick him up.
What she's saying is, over a curfew ticket to murder, we've missed out on our brother for 18 years. So, like, of course, things is difficult. Of course, he doesn't understand. He thinks because we're out here, we're free, that we can just magically snap our fingers, because he don't understand what it's like to live and still not be free. So at the end of the day, we're all still bound, but you guys have taken him and made him bound to something that he didn't put his hand to. He didn't do anything to be in prison. And if he was in prison for a crime that he did commit, he could not be like, I don't even fucking know. I'm sorry for cursing, but that's how it makes me feel. Because he didn't even have a chance to commit a crime. He didn't have a chance to experience life. We all do things. We all mess up. Life is about mistakes, but he didn't go shoot nobody. He didn't do that. And he missed out on his life. He missed out on all of this. So yes, we have all been affected. We've all been affected. Anything could have happened to his little sister that he had to leave because of you, whatever reasons, I don't know, breaking families up as usual. But that's the point. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
Sorry.
During the article that they talked about with Marvin Haynes, how is he feeling while he's in there? Like, is he feeling hopeful that he'll be coming home soon?
Oh, he is hopeful. Marvin has done a lot of his own casework before, like, anybody stepped in. That's the truth. Marvin's been doing this for the last 18 years. This is his story. So everything that he does in there, he is hopeful because he knows he's innocent. He knows he's getting out. And that's what it takes. Maybe it wasn't his time that he was going to get out, but it's God's time. And that's the facts. He's going to come home. And he's very hopeful because that's what he knows. But now everything, the system gets to come down because this is what you've been doing to people for many years. And you think it's okay. So, yeah, we're hopeful that the system is coming down. We're hopeful that Marvin is coming home. And we know that he is. Thank you.
Yeah, but Marvin has been dealing with like a lot of anxiety because things are starting to move and people are finally listening to his story. Mm-hmm. From day one, Marvin has proclaimed his innocence. And from day one, he has been, as a young boy, went in there making up his mind. See, Marvin didn't actually understand the system. Before he was convicted, he just thought, like most of us, that they were going to do the right thing and find the right person. So he was hopeful this whole time. Our family paid for a lawyer who is Cassius Benson, and found out that he was actually employed by Hennepin County. He was working as a public defender, but he did take money from me and my family. So we were just like anybody else from our community who's uneducated about these things, but we have high hopes on the police department, on the system doing the right thing. But that never happened for Marvin.
Anything else? Say any other questions?
So picking up on that education part, what would you like to educate the community about from this case? What can we learn?
You guys can learn that there's a lot of people that's sitting in prison right now who's wrongfully incarcerated or overly sentenced.
And it's not like fake. You can learn that that it happens. It happens often. You may not believe it, but it happens. It happens in all areas. We don't take away from the fact that it doesn't happen to all people. We just know for a fact that it happens to black people, and it happens often to black people. So we could take that away, and we can also stop. We can also just stop, because I'm not committing a crime just because I look guilty. Thank you.
No, because you look black.
No, because I look guilty. Black is guilty. Black is guilty. I walk outside, I gotta be guilty. No, I am innocent. My brother's innocent. He doesn't need to commit. He don't need to shoot nobody for nothing. Because if he was doing something, you guys have supplied it to the community. That's how we got it, okay? Because we don't have money to go and seek guns. We find them from people that go dump them in our community so we could kill each other. You give our kids this rap music so they can understand that death and all that shit, but then you don't educate them. But then you go and send them to jail to be still uneducated, to be still slaves. We understand slavery, and we understand that it's now, and we understand that it never went away. And we're ready for it to stop. And that's just period.
Please contact Mary Moriarty's office and tell her to demand that Marvin Haynes be released immediately. Phone calls, letters, emails, whatever you can do. Thank you for coming out. Peace.